Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you. Thank you for tuning in to Viola's story. Now, where I left off last week was about bringing her home. And it was great because she got to see her brothers again and interact with her brothers. And her older brother got to see him and her, and not him, and play and have a good time. So now that we are home, what was our next step, right? Well, when we left the hospital, we were very fortunate that they gave us some medical supplies. They gave us an extra NG tube that I had talked about. It goes up through the nose, down through the throat, to the tummy, and a couple syringes. However, those don't last very long. So they, thankfully, informed us of a place in town, right down the street actually, that sells medical supplies. So we were able to go there to get some extra supplies when we needed it. We also had this tacky stuff. And I apologize, it's been so long, I don't remember the name of it. But we would tack it up around her cheek, and then we would stick the tube to it and wrap it again, and go down her shirt, so that way she wouldn't rip and pull on it, and it wouldn't pull out all the time. Occasionally it would, because she'd get that one little latch that we didn't quite to. Didn't really hurt her if it did get pulled out, but at least we were able to tack it down a little bit. We did order a couple times from there. But I will warn you, this one time we did get an order, a new NG tube, and it was very stiff. And I was trying to figure out, why is this thing so stiff? Well, there was a metal rod in it, and there no instruction that came with it. We weren't ever informed of it, because the hospital, they have, it's all flimsy, and they said, here's how you do it. And I'm putting it in, I'm like, Jesus, this seems real stiff. Why is it so stiff? Well, you're not supposed to put it in with the metal rod. So, sorry, Viola. But supposedly you're supposed to put it in, take it out, and dispose of it. And it took us a couple days to find that out. So, it didn't do any damage, thankfully. But I will warn you, some NG tubes, if you have to order them, may come with that metal. Make sure you take it out before you install it. So now we're at home, we're working on our feeding, we're being followed by the pediatrician, right? We're trying to get her to drink from a bottle, we're still trying to figure out if it's just her refusing the bottle or if she's having a hard time because of her soft palate split. That will need to be repaired later. So we're in that battle. We been seeing the doctor, and her weight was just kind of staying the same, wasn't really changing. We were having to feed her a bottle for, about trying, at least for 15-20 minutes, and then when that didn't work, we would use that NG tube. We would pour the remaining little bit in a syringe. You had to, what they call prime it, pop the top to get and then get the flow of the milk going down, and we'd have to hold it and come in and down to her stomach. That's what our process was at this point on trying to get the nutrition into her. At this point as well, we were starting to see a few other issues. And the biggest one was, of course, a lot of kids go through is the reflux. We tried many different ways to handle the reflux. We tried keeping her upright while feeding her. We tried making the drip go slower, which at night, how many times I woke up realizing that I'm still holding my arm up over her crib, waking up, be like, oh my goodness, she was done. How long ago was that? But hey, we'll do anything for our kids, right? So, would it change it? I would never change that for anything in the world. And so we were still battling reflux issues. We tried different formulas. We tried the regular formula, soy formula, alimentum, and then there was one that we had to order. Man, see, it's so long ago I can't remember. And I apologize, but there was one that we had to get specially ordered through a medical company for her, and that seemed to work the best with her. Comboing that with slowing down the drip through the NG tube helped hold it down a little bit better. It didn't cure of the issues, but it definitely helped with the issues. So there are a lot of possibilities out there. When we did find that she wasn't keeping anything down, we were recommended to use rice milk. And that she'd do good for that for a couple days. And then once she kind of got back on track, we'd switch her back to the formula, because the formula obviously has more of the nutrition that she would need. At this stage, with all these issues, a couple things started happening and occurring. We were recommended to see a nutritionist, which makes sense, right? So we contacted ECI, found out ECI does offer services for nutritionists. Through ECI, she also qualified for PT and OT that I'll talk about on another episode. And then we started seeing a GI doctor. And they doing test after test with her. Is it something with the stomach? Is it something with the intestine? Everything came back normal. Everything. And that was hard because of not knowing. We obviously know something's up. Couldn't quite put our finger on it. So it was hard trying to figure out what was happening and why. So because of a lot of these issues, our next step was then to go to a feeding tube. Now she's a little bit older. This is probably, we're looking at maybe we're 5 months, 6 months old. We just were battling all those issues, and we were told that a lot of times with the reflux, feeding tubes, G-tubes is what she ends up getting. G-tubes tends to help with that. They also do what's called a Nissen, which is tightening up around the stomach, the esophagus, or whatever feeds right into the stomach. Tighten that up to help with the reflux. However, the doctor that was doing the surgery felt it wasn't really needed. She was, at this point, maybe 14 pounds, maybe 10. I don't remember. But all I know is they were really hesitant on doing it because of her size. And we were like, okay, well, we leave it in your hands, doctor. We trust you, and I'm glad we did trust him. So we were on the process of getting a G-tube. She's older. We figured, okay, this is the next step. This is what we need to do to get our daughter healthy and in a better place. So I don't want to go too much detail with the G-tube because I want to save that whole process for a episode as well. But let me leave on a positive note something she has done. She has, I know, struggled with her speech, but the other day, even though it was at 5:45 in the morning, can't get my kids to sleep in. She wakes up and I come out of my room. She looks right at me and goes, "Hey, Dad." Oh, melted my heart, and I said, "Hi, baby girl, but guess what? It's too early in the morning. You gotta go back to bed. Don't hide at me. Come on." Back to bed. And off to bed she went. But it was awesome to hear her say it very clearly. Obviously, her going to PPCD has really paid off. So I hope that these videos are helping you with any issues you have or questions you have. If you do, please feel free to contact me, and I will be happy to share more and any help I can provide. So I hope that you will like and share my videos with everyone so that we can get this word out to help anybody who needs it. And hey, come on back again.